Using super glue is good when you already have a pattern that's printed on the fabric, either through a transfer, t-shirt transfer from taking a graphic off the internet and printing it and ironing it into the shirt. Then you have a design that's already on the shirt. Clamping the bundle in the back here to hold the bundle in place so it doesn't slip back through. You take each one of these fiber optics and take that needle and place the lights where you want them. In this case, I'm going to pick some of the areas here. Maybe I'll just throw one right in here. Wherever I choose, I can place the fiber optic in the needle and pull it through. And as you see, I'm going to pull this all the way back, because on the back here it determines how much fiber optic I have from the design to the actual bundle where the LED is going to fit. So in my case here, I'm going to make it very long so I can place it in a longer distance. So here it is. I'm going to pull the fiber out of the needle. I have about an inch there. I'm going to take the super glue, and be very careful because this will glue your skin together. You don't want to touch it. I'm going to squeeze a little bit out and just barely touch it. And you see see it there? That's a little dab about the size of a pin, and I'm going to just slowly bring that back into the fabric and wait and hold it and wait for a few seconds. And now that's permanently in that fabric. I want to make sure that it's not loose, so I'll push on it a little bit. Yep, that's solid. Once it's solid, I can take my clippers and clip. Now that fiber is glued in there, and what I'm going to do is just take the RGB colored diode, and I'm going to put it in the bundle here just temporarily to show you that there's that light that's coming out of there. Of course, later we're going to mask it so you don't see this other light. But that's the fiber that I put in. I'm going to put more fibers in, and we're going to see what it looks like after I put a whole bunch in. Okay. Fun way to do this is actually place the LED in the bundle back here on the bundle, and that's going to light up all the fibers you have here. So now I have a lit fiber, and I'm going to place it in the next position. Say I'm going to put it right in the center of that heart there, and come on around, show it. That's it. I want to show you that I can see that fiber lighting up. It's a little easier to put in the needle. I can pull it through here like this, and I'll sit it there. Now it's going to sit there by itself, which is good, because if I put the little dab of glue on it, just that little tiny dip of glue, you see that little bubble, then I can just press it back into the fabric until it touches the fabric and leave it there, and that will adhere to the fabric within a few seconds. It's very important to note that if you're holding on to it and it moves while that glue is drying, it will not hold on to the fabric, and super glue will not hold on to super glue. It's a rather odd phenomenon, but that's solid, and since it's solid now, I can take that and I can just break it or cut it right at the tip there, and there's that little light that I put in. So it's a little bit more fun because you're actually sewing with light. Okay, fast forward an hour from the beginning of this project. It's been about an hour. This is the back side. We have super glued each of the fibers in the front. These are the super glued fibers that you see from the front. We have now taken the bundle of fiber optics. I'm placing the LED inside that connector, and then I'm taking a piece of black tape. Doesn't have to be this big, but I just want to show you the whole procedure. And essentially is what I'm doing is I'm blocking off the light coming from the LED from bleeding through any fabric or any wall hanging. Maybe we'll make this a wall hanging and put it in a frame. Essentially, this is the switch, and if you take a look at here, we have this this beautiful little Christmas tree, and I can turn it on or off. Can't feel anything there on the surface, can't see anything till I turn the switch on, and there we have our little Christmas tree with all the colorful points of light. Now what I'm going to show you is some other examples of what I've done with some other things. In fact, I'm wearing one here, and this has a little coin cell pack inside, and I can feel around for the switch here, And once I turn on the switch, you're going to see Marvin. He's one of my favorite characters. He has a gun, and this is charging up the gun and firing those little bullets, which is the LED here that I've done in the Christmas tree. So essentially, I placed it in here in my t-shirt, and as you see, it's perfectly flat against my body. The coin cell pack is the entire electronics, and to machine wash this, I just unplug it from that little connector and throw it through the washing machine. Okay, the very first thing you want to do is remove the bundle of fiber optics with the connector on the end from the package. Separate the fibers and count the number of fibers you have in the package. So I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. And let's say I have 100 fibers here. It could be more. I know that's the number of points that I'm going to have to use to define the image that I want to place into the fabric. Now, before we do anything as far as putting any fibers in fabric, we want to define what that will represent a fiber optic point. Now, I know how many fiber optic points I have, so I can define them any size, etc. For the demonstration, you'll see here there's two setups. One is a little aluminum vise, and another one is an aluminum vise with a clamp that holds it on. This is a table vise, so it mounts on the side of a table. This one here can mount anywhere, and those two vices are in tool packages available later in the video. Okay, so I've defined some images here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a heart. So in order to take the heart, I'm going to go cut the heart out. And what I'm going to do is place fiber optics in each one of those points. So I take my bundle and I place it in the back of the fabric, like so, and then I clamp the portion here, so it is clamped to something to keep it from pulling away, and then I'm going to start putting fibers in. We're going to remove the hollow point needle from the protective container. Always place it back there. It's sterilized, so if you poke yourself, you're not going to get any kind of disease. This needle, then, I'm going to take the first point, furthest and lowest away from me. I'm going to place that needle through that point, and then I'm going to take one of the fibers from the fiber optic bundle in the back, and I'm going to place it inside the needle, and then once it's in the needle, I'm going to pull the needle through. As you see, the fiber is still in the needle. Pull it all the way through and let it sit here. Okay, so that's going to be the first point. And then I'm going to put another point in here in the bottom of the heart, and I'm going to take another fiber from the bundle in the back, and I'm going to place it inside that needle from this side, and then I'm going to pull it through, and I'm pulling the fiber through. Okay, now I've finished putting all the fiber optics into the design, the heart. Now I'm going to hold the back, so I hold it steady, and I'm going to pull the design off the fiber optics. I'm going to take those optics in my hand, and I'm going to put a rubber band around them and tighten the rubber band so that these fibers are held on this side of the fabric as I glue them on the reverse side, and they don't slip through the fabric while the glue is drying or while I'm handling the t-shirt or whatever piece of apparel that you've placed it in. So essentially, I'm taking this and I'm tightening the rubber band around the bundle so it's very tight. Now in the back, if you come around the back here, we'll see that I have a lot of extra fiber optics here outside the ones that I've used to actually put the heart in the fabric. I can use them to make another design or put another heart. I have several, so I could do 2 or 3 hearts on the other side. It doesn't matter, or I can just cut them out of the design entirely. Now, the next step is very simple. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to place this on a box. Wrong box here. I'm going to place this on top of a box so that the fibers here hang down into the box, and I'm going to take my glue my Aleene's Gillette or any glue that glues plastics into fabric, and I'm going to squeeze it on both sides of the fibers all the way around the back so that it sits there overnight and dries. That's on the interface that I've ironed on the inside to make sure that it's a little stiff, keeps that stiff. That's the interface piece that you need on that back of that fabric. Okay, now the next day the glue has dried on the back, and what I can do at this point is I can start cutting these fibers across here because they're glued into the back, and I take my cuticle clippers, they're right to the surface, and I can clip each one of these right at the surface. As I go along, I'm clipping all of the glued fibers in the surface. Okay, so overnight the glue has dried. I placed the LED in the connector, the self-adjusting connector on the end with the battery pack, and I turn that on. It has a lot of extra fiber optics that I can cut, and this is the resulting heart on the other side in the fabric. I take a hair dryer, heat it up, and that'll melt the fibers back, and it'll be perfectly flat in whatever the design that you choose to be in the fabric.